Alright, these videos are to help you go through some of the grid and response questions that were on the practice EOG test. So the first question, make sure you have the test pulled up. I either will have it in the PowerPoint or you can have it pulled up on the PDF that I've provided y'all on Edmodo. So the first question says that Betty makes pies, and to make 6 pies she uses 7.5 cups of flour, and we need to know how many cups of flour are needed to make 1 pie. So in order to set this one up, we want to set up a proportion where we're comparing pies to flour. So we're going to be comparing pies to cups of flour. So the first thing we know is that for 6 pies, she uses 7.5 cups of flour. We want to know how many it takes to make 1 pie, so that's our question. That's where X comes in. Now, because this is going to be a grid and response, you're not going to be able to use a calculator. So if you can cross multiply and solve this without using fractions, you can, but I'm going to show you another way right here that I recommend, which involves making this an improper fraction. So if you know that 7.5 as an improper fraction is 15 halves, because 2 times 7 is 14 plus 1 is 15, we're going to use that instead right here. So let's rewrite this as 6 over 15 halves equals 1 over x. So then we want to solve for this instead. So then we're going to divide both sides by 6. This is like a normal one-step equation. So essentially what we have is x equals 15 halves divided by 6. Well, if you remember, if we make this a fraction, we need to do keep, change, flip in order to divide this. So keep, change to multiply, and flip. So then when we multiply across, we get 15 twelfths, which equals x. So that means you need 15 twelfths cups of flour to make this 1 pie. Well, that's not a very practical way to think of cups of flour. So what your question, what the answer did on the answer key is reduce this and then change it into a fraction, or I'm sorry, into a decimal. If you were to put this on the EOG, that would also be acceptable. But if we divide top and bottom by 3, we're going to get 5 fourths, because we divide top and bottom by 4, which then if you reduce, be 1 1/4, which is the same thing as 1.25. So 1 1/4 cups of flour. So any of these answers would be acceptable on your EOG grid and response. It would just depend on how you came up with your answer, unless it's specified that you had to reduce to the simplest form. But otherwise, any of these would be right. They all represent the same thing, the amount of cups of flour. All right, number 8. So this one is going to be a similar process. We've started with 3/4 of a liter of yellow paint and an amount of red paint to overall make 2 liters of orange paint. Then we want to know if we use 1 liter of red paint, how much yellow paint we would need to use. So same thing, we're going to set up our proportion, and we're comparing yellow paint to red paint. So we have 3/4 of a liter of yellow paint compared to 5/4 of red paint, because 1 1/4, I turned that to an improper fraction. We know that it's going to make for the next set, we need 1 liter of red paint, and we don't know how much yellow paint we need. That was the question. So again, we're going to cross multiply. So we get 5/4 x equals 3/4. So then we're going to divide both sides by 5/4. So we get that x equals 3/4 divided by 5/4. Well then again, just like we did last time, we need to do keep, change, flip, which then equals 12/20. because we multiplied 3 times 4 is 12 and 4 times 5 is 20. Then just like we did for the last one, we're going to reduce it. So divide top and bottom by 2, and we'd get 6 over 10, and then divide it again. So the easiest way to divide is to divide by 4. So then you would get 3/5, which is the most reduced fraction form. And then if you were to convert it to a decimal, remember multiplying top and bottom by the same to get up to 100. So multiply top and bottom by 20, you'd get 60 over 100, which is 0.6. So this would be an acceptable answer, or you could say 0.6, but that's how they got the decimal form of that answer in the EOG answer key.